All right, good morning, current issues students. We are in day three of our unit five. What creative techniques are used to attract my attention? What I want you guys to do is I kind of made some adjustments to the pacing guide. I kind of want to spread things out. There's a couple no school days in our calendar, and I was like, I don't want to. I want to do not as much overlap over things. So I kind of want to space it out a little bit more, especially given the factors we have right now with remote learning. I still want to keep it rigorous, but to the point where it's not overload. So what you saw here is we're going to keep this week as is. Yesterday was a short assignment. Today is a shorter assignment. But you have 3 days for the blended news arcs plus the extra time there to do those. But next week we have a short week, and instead of having 5.3 and 5.4 on Tuesday, Wednesday, I just think that was a little unfair. So that's why I spaced those two out. So I built an extra week in there. As you guys can see here, we're not taking a test for this unit. I actually had to take something out. Game change is something I really like. But since we're remote learning, I had to take that out. So there's a lot of adjustments that I'm really organized, but it's one of those things where like, dang, can't do that, can't do this, can't do that. And got to do this, got to do that, and spacing out. So that's what the calendar looks like. So that's what we have right there. So we're going to keep it as is with the whole project at the end of the unit, which makes sense. We'll build to that project going forward. All right. So we're on Wednesday. We're on logical fallacies. All right. So we're going to do very similar to what we did yesterday with creative media techniques. You're going to go to the logical fallacies page. You're going to make a copy of the logical fallacy, right? And I have mine right here. Okay. I want you guys to do the assignment. Again, get a shareable link, right? This is a shareable link to the assignment. And once you're done with it, you'll just submit it right there. Again, your first name, last name, right? And then let's post the link right in here. Okay, so that's what you'll do for this. All right. So looking at the assignment today, it's a short presentation. We're looking at logical fallacies. All right, and but now, what's a logical fallacy? Well, a logic fallacy is an error in reasoning that renders an argument invalid. In a broad sense, all logical fallacies are non sequiturs, arguments in which a conclusion doesn't follow logically from what preceded it. So you're getting in a fight with somebody, and that person, not a fight, but an argument, and that person, instead of going after you on factual stuff and reasoning, attacks you for something that makes no sense. And there's different ways of doing that. And that's the ways we're going to look at. So that's a part of what techniques are used to attract my attention. You will see a lot. We see a lot of these in the news media, and just in the media in general. Don't want to say particularly going to call it the news media, but you see a lot of these logical fallacies used. They're used a lot by politicians, and that's what we're going to get into a couple more assignments from now. So just don't want to call it the news and I want to call it politician, but a lot of people use them. So this is not particularly those two groups, but they're more high profile. They're seen more visibly, so it's easier to spot those logical fallacies because they're just on TV, right? All right, so we're gonna go to this page right here. Okay, we're gonna complete the sheet. This is the activity. Okay. So I have a link to what your logical fallacy is right there. I have a link to the bottom right there, but this is the page you're going to go to, okay? And it's all the logical fallacies that we want to look at, all right? And again, I'm not going to go through all these, but I'm going to go through a couple of these with you. And it talks about these logical fallacies, and you click on it, okay? Straw man. What is a straw man? You misrepresented someone's argument to make it easier to attack. And then it talks about a little bit by exaggerating, misrepresenting, or just completely fabricating someone's argument. It's much easier to present your own position as being reasonable, but this kind of dishonesty serves to undermine honest, rational debate. And then it gives examples. So it says, after Will, so and so, so and so. So that's what this web page does. All right. It not only tells you what it is, it goes into more detail on what it is, and then it provides you an example of your logical fallacy. So for the first few questions, it's going to say, what logical fallacy am I? Okay, so you go through 1 through 15, and I already did the first two for you. So the first one says, because you found something difficult to understand, so you don't understand it, or you're unaware of how it works, you made it out like it's probably not true. And that's personal credulity. Okay, so if you go back to the page, personal credulity right there, I'll tell you right there, because you found something difficult to understand or not aware of how it works, you made it out like it's probably not true. Okay, and then it gives you an example of that. So like you don't understand what the person's talking about, so you're like, yeah, you're making that up because you have no background knowledge on it. All right, that's a logical fallacy, right? That's something that is done a lot. Okay, it is. Maybe time from time I've been caught doing that. You never know. All right. So the next one says you appeal to popularity or the fact that many people do something as an attempted form of validation. And that's bandwagon. All right. That's a very popular form of a logical fallacy. Right. Everybody's doing it. Okay. So it must be true or it must be a correct thing. Right. Um, and that's a lot. That's used a lot. That's not necessarily true. Sometimes it's people that are in the minority thinking or the minority position that is actually factual about a logical fallacy. Well, as everybody's doing it, then it has to be true. Then the argument's true, or then it's the right position, so forth and so forth. Okay, so that's what you're going to do for these first 16. 15. Okay, so let's go to 16. I already did it for you, but it says, and we already saw this one. It says, after Will said that we should put more money to health and education, Warren responded by saying that he was surprised that Will hates our country so much that he wants to leave it defenseless by cutting military spending. Well, Will didn't say that. Warren is just taking a really extreme, he's a straw man. He misrepresented Will's argument. So again, if you go back to the page, go to strawman, and here's a little trick for these. It basically gives you the example right there. So all you have to do is just like look for. So this one right here, you just have to like look for which one this is, and click on it, and then it'll give you the same example. Okay, but this is what you're gonna do. I want you to kind of identify examples of that, and then at the end for the last three, or 1, 2, 3, 4, you're going to create your own example. So create an example of straw man, create an example of appeal authority, create an example of loaded question, create an example of slippery slope. By looking at those, and I picked these purposely because these are going to appear multiple times in this. So I didn't just pick random ones like, I want them to do an example of this. I picked those because you guys will have already prior knowledge of them. Again, I'm not looking for something that's really Shakespearean, and I know you guys have rudimentary knowledge of this. So again, um, I'm not looking for the greatest response in these, but kind of think of a good straw man argument, right? It'd be like, I could talk about how Ryan disagreed with Matt's point of view on the Chicago Bulls uh, making it to the NBA Finals, right? Ryan has no idea about basketball. So you're like, well, that's maybe not true about Ryan. He maybe has a lot of ideas about basketball. He knows the Bulls are not going to make it to the finals, right? But you're saying he doesn't know anything about basketball. That's a straw man argument. You're totally taking out what he's saying out of context, right? So that's again, just stuff like that. It's again not going too much into the weeds, but I want you guys kind of get the idea of this. All right. So that's the assignment for today. So remember, after you're done, submit it. Right there. And continue to work on your news arcs, right? Defense Production Act is my two topics. Those are in the news, so please do that. All right, so if you have any questions, please feel free to shoot me an email, contact me, and we're good to go. All right, so take care, guys. Thank you.